I'm sure you all know Rita Dominic. She's a very famous Nollywood actress. A few years ago, Rita had this important role to play the wife of a Nigerian military officer in this epic movie, 76. Rita's role, by and large, took us into the experiences of women, wives of army officers who don't consult them when they decide to be part of military coups. Rita's husband in the movie Ramsey Noah, Captain Dewa, was involved in the coup. And it basically depicted that perspective of the army wife. Now, Rita had a fantastic outing in this movie and won so many awards. But what struck me was the speech she gave in receiving one of these awards, where she said, how come it was only when she got the script for this role that she knew or she got to know that part of Nigerian history? In other words, she was alarmed, shocked that she was not taught about this stuff in school. Now, by and large, that is the point. Sometime between 1985 to 1995, a decade, this very obnoxious convergence of backwardness, Babangida and Abacha, found this way of removing history from the curriculum of our studies. And we had a whole generation of Nigerians who did not know about their history, Nigerians who did not know about Nigeria. So by and large, this was why Rita did not get to be taught Nigerian history when she was in school. Now, to bring this home for us, our roots, by and large, are our history. And the fruits is what we get to bear from this history. Without history, we lack knowledge. Without history, we also lack consciousness. As historians, we are interested in society. We are students of society. And this brings us to similarity with the political sciences, sociology, and all the other humanities. What differentiates us is our interest in change and continuity, is our interest in the human trajectory. So change and continuity always taking place, whether it's political, economic, social, whether it's the world, Africa, Nigeria, it's always changing. But there are also continuities also alongside these changes. And critically important is how we apply this to our everyday life and the things that we do. I want to give you examples of the importance of knowledge, because I want to talk about two things: knowledge, but also consciousness. So in regards to knowledge, I want to take you to the European Enlightenment, 17th and 18th century European history. Now, European history in the 18th century is defined by the culmination of the Enlightenment, an age in which there was an emergence of knowledge, rationality, science, a logic of thinking and practice. In Europe, this led to turmoil, revolutions, upheaval. But also, it led to the establishment of representative democracy. It led to an embracing of liberty, of freedoms. But the interesting thing of this period in European history is also, it was by and large, in 1760s, it culminated with the Industrial Revolution in Europe, a transformation in the means of production, machines replacing human labor. And the Industrial Revolution, by and large, also created the platform whereby the Enlightenment created the conditions of the West and the rest. The West was now civilized and the rest was backward. The West was enlightened, but the rest was still in darkness. By and large, the justification, the reasons for imperialism, for European colonization of the rest. In other words, the factors that created this condition for liberty and freedom in one part of the world was the justification for the subjugation of another part of the world. So the Enlightenment was not universal. We therefore find a direct link between the Enlightenment, slavery, the Industrial Revolution, imperialism, and colonization. A direct link, a direct historical trajectory, roots and fruits. Now, the process of colonial subjugation for Nigeria had its own history and had its own consequences. And if you read historical debates, if you follow how European countries converged in Berlin and shared Africa into pieces, there is a discussion about what is the significance of colonization. What is the importance of colonization? And within historical debates, there are two key arguments. One group says it was by and large an episode. In other words, there has been a long history and there will continue to be more history. The other group says, no, it was epochal. It had serious changes. And they would argue that if you want to understand the politicization of religion, if you want to understand the indigent settler question, for example, in contemporary Nigeria, you have to trace its roots to European colonization, knowledge, roots, and fruits. But when we come to the post-colonial history of Nigeria, we can derive fruits as consciousness. And in Nigeria, we are quick, of course, to blame the history of contact, particularly contact with Europeans. We claim we are an accident of history. We don't fit together. It's uncommon. We are uncommon bedfellows. It is not just the right to be different, but we want the right to be separate. I want to challenge you. Name one organic country for me. Name one country in the world that is homogeneous. The United Kingdom, a country of tribes, English, Scottish, Welsh. Even amongst the English, there are ethnic groups. Germany, for example, also a country of groups, ethnic groups. Melting pots. The best example, the United States of America. The best example of a melting pot of a nation. They tell you if you have a country and you don't have an American who traces its roots to you, then you don't have a country. What is my point? Nation building is a process. Nation building is an investment. Nations are not just created. People have to invest. They are melting pots of identities. Identities that we get to understand by symbols, anthems, flags, pride and patriotism, honor and service. Yes, we have serious failings in leadership, severe governance shortcomings. But what role have we played in nation building? So every time somebody reminds you about Biafran secession, for example, remember that no ethnic group has invested more in the Nigerian project like the Igbo. I mean, how else can we measure nation building or investment in nation building than this group of people that invest with their livelihoods? Every Nigerian city, village, town, nooks and cranny, they're there trying to earn a living. After all, as a nation, and as ethnic groups, our histories of homogeneity are very, very recent. 100 years ago, you would have met Ijebu and not an Odua race, for example. Or in northern Nigeria, you would have had people from Katsina and Kano and Zauzau and not Hausa Fulani, for example. Even in the north central of Nigeria, our ethnic groups are melting pots. So as you can see, I'm an optimist. Yes, I believe in Nigeria. But I also believe in social justice, merit, sacrifice, patriotism, roots and fruits, the then and the now. History is the fountain of knowledge, and history is also a frame, a tool for developing consciousness. So friends, roots and fruits, the then and the now. History as an important vocation. If we don't know where we are coming from, we won't understand where we are. And if we have no understanding of where we are, it also makes it difficult for us to know where we are going. Roots and fruits. If we do not know our roots, we will not be able to bear fruits. Thank you very much.